Welcome to Small Business Big Dreams, where every episode is a new journey into the world of entrepreneurs who are daring to dream big. In this corner of the internet, we're going to celebrate the innovation and the perseverance it takes to turn small ventures into booming successes. These small businesses aren't just places to shop, they're actually hubs of creativity and passion, each with its own amazing story. From the mom and pop shops to the innovative startups, we're going to explore it all. You'll meet the faces behind the brands, hear their stories, and maybe even get inspired to start your own venture. Whether you're a longtime local or new in town, come along with me for the ride and let's celebrate the backbone of our communities one small business at a time. Now let's dream big and spread some love for our local heroes.
All right, welcome back to another week of Small Business Big Dreams. I'm your host, Eric Bohl, and I brought in a local, well-known, infamous or famous or friendly-faced Dave Bohl from Grayslake as well, and I'm super excited to talk about what the hell do you not do, I think would be an easier question, but welcome, Dave. Thanks for sitting down with us today.
Thank you. Thanks for the bourbon, by the way.
Yeah, it's 5 o'clock somewhere. We're
right,
driving
exactly.
in some
Yes, it's
bourbon.
late at night that we're recording, I think, yes.
Yeah, no, it's not 9 o'clock on a Wednesday, I swear.
Not at all. Not at all. Well, hey, thanks for having me here.
Yeah, I'm actually super interested to kind of, cross-promotion podcast, right? Like,
Right.
I love that. You're doing some great things. I'm doing some cool things. But I know that's not the only thing you do. So we'll talk about podcast stuff for sure on this. But what else what did you do, and now what do you do?
Right. Well, my famous answer for when people ask me what I do is I do my best every day. because I never know what, at a party when people are like, so Dave, what do you do? And I do my best every day. So way back after I got out of college, I started wedding DJ business.
Yeah.
And did that for 26 years. Started with a single operation, just me doing it, and then a couple of us doing it, and then before too long, it was 10 crews out on a Friday night, Saturday night,
everywhere,
Sunday night. Yeah. But even when I did that, it was funny because the people said, "What do you do for a living?" I said, "I will DJ weddings," and they would say, "Well, what's your real job?" Because or what do you do all week?
Yeah. What's your day job or whatever? Yeah.
Are we allowed to swear in here?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd be like, we fucking do 300 weddings a year. We have to meet with brides. We have to do the weddings.
Yeah.
We have to meet with them beforehand. And that's not in counting the people that we didn't get. So we spent time doing that. So
and then end up not getting the
Right. So business for that was a day to day. And then you hit your goals for the year. And then you reset and start all over again.
So I worked weddings for a little while. I actually did, obviously, the photography side of it. Bless your soul, after the wedding day, you were done.
Oh,
because man,
exactly.
Once the wedding was over, my job was just getting started. It's like, God, the hours of editing and the back and forth. I mean, God, weddings. I'm glad to be.
Yeah,
and
the other thing there too is we get instant gratification. Besides knowing that we get done, we know whether we did a good job or not. Like, our job was done, people are happy. You guys had to go home, edit photographs, and hope that they like the ones you took.
God, yeah.
Right.
Or hope like the SD card didn't fry, or
sure.
I didn't.
But that's why you backed everything up.
Yeah,
of probably
course.
2 at the same time.
Yeah,
right?
and had a second shooter just in case. And shit. Oh. I had one time, totally lost it all.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even have a solution for. I paid some IT guru guy to try some recovery. It was just gone, totally gone.
Yeah, that's hard.
Yeah,
that's hard.
It was only time I felt sick to my stomach for a mistake I made. That's not entirely true. But
right. Well, one of them. It's a highlight of your career.
It was a top five.
Right. Yeah. So,
all right.
Yeah, wedding business is fun.
Yeah.
And then,
Are you still doing anything with weddings?
I do a select few weddings for people I know.
Yeah.
It's the lifestyle.
Pulls you out of retirement. Kind of all right, this buddy,
and fun. But I like to do other parties or the fun parties, however they go, and it's something different. And there's not all the pressure and the stress on everything all the time too. And I have a little guy at home, and I have already given up and sold my soul to the devil for how many weekends. So now I'd like to enjoy. COVID actually changed all that because I learned what it was like to be home with my kids.
Yeah.
It never happened before. For
that
26 years, I gave up every weekend, every holiday, every bachelor party, every family reunion, everything fun that everybody was doing. I was working.
Man.
I mean, we made money.
Of course, yeah.
So
but it's a give or take, right?
Right.
Yeah.
And then you give it away to your ex-wives, and then you end up with nothing.
Damn. Ouch.
Yeah. Not bitter about that at all.
Not at all,
So
whatsoever.
That wasn't
I'll
on
pour
our
you another one here in a
sheet to go down. Things we're supposed to talk about. It's just life.
It happens to more people than it should, but it
Yes.
happens. So you did do wedding DJ. Now, what's the day job today?
That's a very good question as well. So we run the Discovering Grayslake podcast.
Yeah, absolutely.
But not on a daily basis, but it's turned into, as you know,
much.
it's
Nonstop.
crazy. I do a lot of video work. I'm shooting a documentary film for a gentleman downtown on a drug addiction clinic on the west side of Chicago.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so he's a huge philanthropist, so he gives all of his money away and everything to run the drug addiction clinic and also food pantry, which has changed a lot. Starting to do that changed my perception of everything. A, on philanthropy. B, on how good we have it. And if you think your day sucks, call me up and I'll tell you a story of just walking into the place and how good your life actually is.
Well, that's like my perspective's really changed when I volunteered for a couple of times for a while over at the VA hospital. You want to talk about eye-opening and like any place. Go work at a retirement home, an addiction clinic, a VA hospital. If you're having a bad day, just go.
Yeah, no, it changes your perception of everything. Yeah, so count your blessings, kids.
Seriously.
Yeah, that's good. And I do a lot of drone photography. And if anybody's ever seen other stupid videos I make, I really enjoy doing stupid things.
Dude, your videos are like, it's good though. It's good stuff. Dude, I like the one you just did. I think it was promoting one of your events coming up. That was like the like a hidden camera one.
Oh, yeah,
sitting at the restaurant or whatever. That was clever. I like that.
We're like, okay, do we do a hidden camera surveillance? We have some other good ones coming up too.
Oh,
so
yeah.
But no, to be able to have fun, and we produce digital content for other clients too. And as you and I were speaking of before, I just don't think there's enough people out there, A, using video like it should be, or being creative enough to actually have the balls to do something different, maybe.
Yeah, seriously.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to stand out and do different, you got to go against the grain. And I think too many people are afraid of it.
Yeah, and do not be afraid of criticism.
You're going to get it. Oh, there's always going to be haters.
Right. The better you do, the more people will criticize.
Oh, trust me. I do.
Which means I'm doing really fucking good.
Yeah.
You should see some of the messages I have.
God, it's brutal.
No, it's kind of fun, though.
So keep it. We'll go. We're going to have fun with this, but I want to, let's plug some professional stuff. So if like a company wanted to work with you, like what's the best way to get a hold of you?
Usually just via my cell phone. I'm really easy to find all over the place.
Googleable.
I am definitely Googleable. Sky's the limit. Dronography is how it's found, but yeah, I mean we're pretty good at SEO, so all over the place with Facebook, Instagram.
Anything digital, man. You
have
a lot in common, man.
Right? No, and it's all based around being creative.
Yeah,
because I couldn't have a 9-to-5 job, and people, I think, are just so close-minded, and that's why I enjoy your podcast, too, when you talk to different people to see how they do different things.
Yeah.
But I still think even, and no disrespect to, anybody, people I've had on my podcast, people you've had on your podcast, that I still don't think people actually get it. As you almost choke.
Oh, yeah. As I was taking a sip of bourbon, that burned a little bit, yeah. So doing all this, content creation, you're doing drone stuff, you do SEO, video. I mean, your video work's awesome. I have to give a shout out. I would like to think I'm really good at recording video. Like I can get really quality video and audio and all mixed and all that. Man, I have a respect for people who can edit, because that is
it's the most tedious
thing. It is the most
world.
Bane of my existence. Of like, I'm trying to just make like a 2-minute clip, and it's like, it's taking me 2 hours to edit this thing down, like, or making it, or I'm trying to do a highlight reel of something, and it's like I've got all this B-roll, and then trying to chop it up and add music, and the music's on time. It's like, oh my god,
yes,
like massive respect to the guys that do it full time.
And it's also hard when you have to quote people on a job when they want a 2-minute video and it's $2,500. They're like, well, you're only shooting for a half hour. Okay. Well, now come back. You want to sit with me while I edit?
Yeah, right.
And then after you get it done, if the client's not happy, then they tweak it how they want. But if you
go back to the original, because that's the way we wanted it anyway.
The movie that I'm shooting had a total concept. We showed it at a gala. I can only say so much about it.
Yeah.
But it was so powerful that it triggered some people that were watching it.
Of course.
And my idea was to make it strong enough, the content, where it kind of freaked people out, because you want to scare people. It was completely intense. So then I was asked to change it to make it a little softer. And then after we made it softer, guess which version we're back to?
Yeah, the intense one, of course.
Who do we want to scare? You want to scare parents to keep their kids off of drugs? Well, you better make it, your content better be pretty aggressive, so to say.
And that's what I think that alludes exactly to what we were talking about earlier. Like, make a stance on something. Like,
Yes.
you wash it down. You don't really take any opinion on anything. You don't really give it the full facts or the benefit of what it really is. You're never going to get the reaction you want.
No. And everything's so watered down. All the content's watered down. I encourage anybody out there that runs a small business or doing anything that you're doing, like, if you're a little scared to post something, that's a great indication that post that sucker right away just to see what people say.
Yeah.
And even if it's one way or another, people are going to remember you, or they're going to tell their friend about it. And that's what you want, other
you want
than
the
just
engagement. You want the people to talk
through.
about you. You know, you're gonna, no matter what, you're going to get people that love you, and you get the people that hate you.
Absolutely.
And unfortunately, the people that hate you are typically louder.
Right.
So you have to learn how to zone that out.
Right. But also understand that those people that are bitching about you and don't like you are probably your best advertisers.
Yeah. Like, oh, thanks for the engagement. Thanks for boosting this post.
Exactly.
You know?
And thank you for talking about it for me, because you did better for me than the post did.
Yeah, and the 3 people you bitched about me to, guess what? They're clients now.
Right.
So, hey, keep it up. Appreciate you. I'll say your commission check's in the mail, you know?
Exactly. Everything's just mundane. I think everything, just the world that we live in right now, that everybody's so PC and they're worried about everything that they're going to do, which waters down everything. So do something different.
So how do we go from wedding DJ to drones to SEO to video making to now not 1 but 2 podcasts?
Yes. So during my video work, it was even before that. No, I think I was bored one day, and I majored in broadcasting, so I always wanted
really?
did a lot of
Very cool.
radio.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, radio and TV stuff.
Okay.
So I was single at the time and had this girl that I worked with who was awesome, and she was funny, so we started a dating podcast. It was called The Undateable, and if you search it, it's not there anymore. So.
Oh, man, I was going to say, I'm like,
There's a lot of problems that can come with that.
oh, you're totally giving me these offline. I'm totally
Exactly.
listening to
I
them.
do have the recordings laying around. So we did that for a while, and then we actually tweaked her profile, so we give people advice on online dating,
Yeah, of
whatever.
course.
So
Watered it down.
Mine was not watered down. But we actually got her a boyfriend, and I think she's almost married. So
No shit.
4 months in, she quit.
Well, it worked for me. I'm done.
Right. Yeah. So then we were done with that. And then I was in the custom motorcycle world with one of my good friends. And I would travel around with him. I do video. We do all this stuff.
Oh,
and
so you didn't get into making custom motorcycles. You were like
documenting
yes.
it. I've never ridden a motorcycle. I can't even spell it. So I got to be around this really interesting group of people. And all these guys were doing extraordinary things, and they were making shit for money. They were barely surviving, but they stayed true to exactly what they were doing. So we did 99 motorcycle podcasts, which are still out there.
Holy shit.
Yeah, and some of the young guys that are on there are now like these super famous guys on all these TV shows.
No
so
shit.
those listens are going like crazy.
You've been
It's still out there
podcasting for a while.
for a long time.
Yeah. Okay.
And then took a break from that, and then one day I've lived in Grayslake my entire life, so I wanted to feature some other things and didn't have exactly what I wanted to do, but I knew that our town is extremely special and has some cool people in it. So I was like, what the hell, we'll try to, get this off the ground and talk to people. So,
And you're what, like 70?
70 something. I read an article this morning, and this is hats off to you as well, is that 90% of podcasts don't make it past their 3rd episode. I'm not sure if you've ever seen that.
So
you win.
Similar, but like slightly contradictory. I was 7 episodes or something. It was like 80% don't make it past like 6 or 7 episodes. I was like,
yeah,
really? Like, cause I'm like, I've got a lineup. Like, let's go. Like,
right.
I'm just getting started.
Right.
But
it's a grind though.
But I can also see where like, there's a lot of podcasts I know out there. Some people that have done some really, really great content, but they get like 1 person that listens,
right.
2%. And you do that for a couple months, and it's just like,
Why am I doing this?
Why? Right? Because it takes a lot of work. I mean, and we're not doing it video. Like the guys that do this with video, God bless their soul, man.
It's a lot of work.
Yeah. No, couldn't do it.
That's
I would
a lot
need
of
like
work.
a permanent studio where it's just set up,
Absolutely.
And then maybe I would do it.
And then make sure that the people like the way they look, because they're otherwise they're going to take it down.
Like, I don't give a shit. You're signing this because
Right.
like it is what it is.
Right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, because most of the people that do it, most people don't like the way their voice sounds, and they don't like the way they look on camera. So then you put them all over the internet to try to boost our listens or to get people engaged and to listen to our shows.
Yeah.
It's hard to do. But it is. You and I talked about like what it's like to have a podcast life, to go around and actually record the episodes, put your heart and soul into it, talk to great people, publish it, and then what do? Cross our fingers and hope people listen?
Yeah. So you guys know, I just want to tell our listeners that hopefully that all are listening to it, you can't be found on podcast platforms. So for me, my two biggest ones are Spotify and Apple, but they don't push podcasts.
Nope.
So me has to find a way to promote it in other realms. That's why you guys, yes, you see me swamping you on my Instagram and my Facebook and TikTok and anywhere. I will talk to everybody about it, and then I'll ask the people I interview to like, you talk about it on your socials and your friends, because there's no other way to be found.
Right.
And it's a grind. But the benefit of the podcast blows out any portion of like an Instagram post, a Facebook reel, whatever, because the attentiveness of a podcast listener is leaps and bounds beyond. They are committing an hour, what I think was the average, like 45 minutes, most podcasts, something like that. But so to have anybody listening right now is like huge.
Yeah, and there's only certain ways to get there. So if you have a guest on there, and if you've been a guest on this show or on my show, if the person on the podcast doesn't promote it, it doesn't go any further than the people that you already have.
Right.
And if people are listening to this podcast right now, make sure you subscribe on whatever platform you are, because really the only way to get notified and the only way to remember, except for looking it up every single time, now it's just in your hand or in your pocket, like every time a new episode comes out. So I cannot tell enough people, if you enjoy these shows, you have to subscribe.
Subscribe. I mean, we're going to probably bring it up 3 more times on this podcast, but subscribing to the podcast doesn't cost you a thing. It saves you time and effort of knowing when the podcast comes out, finding the podcast or doing anything like that. And for, I think 98% of my listeners do it on a mobile phone. It's on your phone.
Yep.
You can go, it's just there. You're ready to go.
Absolutely. And I'll bring one more thing up too that I find funny, because so after 70 some episodes, and who knows when this airs, how many there'll be. If you are a podcast guest and you're interviewed about your business, and you don't take that freaking link and embed it on your website, it's the story of your business. It may be the biggest marketing tool that you are getting for free.
Yeah.
And people are simply not using it. Yeah. Once again, goes back, and people only know what they know. And maybe they don't know how to embed it into their website. So I'm not scolding them for that, but I'm encouraging people to use the content that you have. You could tell your story of your business. If you hired me to come into your shop to do a video for your business, then didn't
post it.
Right, exactly. And they'd pay $2,500, $3,000 for it. They would post it for that. But I think,
it out,
right. But to have that done and it's just laid out for their clients to hear, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah,
it's a no-brainer.
Well, and I set my so I've got myself on like Spotify, Apple, all of them.
Right.
But what I also do is I have a URL web for each podcast episode. So then they can do is just, if they don't know how to embed, they can literally just make like a page link on it, and then it takes them to my stuff, which is great.
Listen here.
Yeah.
Doom. Right.
Yeah. And then it takes it right there, and it's all that too. So I use Buzzsprout.
Yeah.
So they make it nice and easy.
Yeah.
I like it. But
there's so many out there that it's like
unreal.
To navigate through that.
I spent more time than I'll ever admit to anybody on this podcast of trying to figure out which one to use, because there's so many.
Sure.
Riverside, what's Libsyn, or is it
Libsyn is what I use. Yeah,
and then obviously Buzzsprout.
And there's all these other ones that come out all the time, and they supposedly do it for you, and they manage volume levels and all whatever. Yeah, whatever. It's hard. Yeah, there is some. We did a small class on how to start a podcast, and it was funny because I was like, oh, well, just 45 minutes. 45 minutes in, we hadn't covered anything, and I was like, holy shit, we actually do a lot, actually, from setting it up, recording, editing, how the distribution works, how to get people to listen, like what's the content, what you can do, what you can't do, what is the image size that Apple will take before you get kicked back. So there's a lot to do it. So if you're going to start a podcast, just do your homework, or call one of us.
Yeah, or call one of us for sure.
Yeah.
I was actually blew my mind on the amount of information on what your podcast logo should be, because the way all these platforms present it, like how many words or what size should things be, and it's just like if you're watching it on an Apple iPhone or your desktop. And I was like, Jesus, like I changed my logo like more times than I could count because of it all. It's like I actually even changed the name of my podcast right before it started.
I remember you said that.
I actually reached out to all these people. I was like, hey, you want to get on my podcast? It's called Digging In. Great, let's set it up. The name of the podcast is Small Business Big Dreams. They're like, wait, is this the same
Right.
thing?
You mean this went from an excavation podcast to a small business podcast? Yeah. And the name has to say what it is. I mean, that's a huge thing, but that's marketing, right?
Yeah. One is like my buddy made, it was a simple question or a simple point he made. He's like, if you have to explain the title of your podcast, it's wrong.
Right.
And it's like, oh shit. Like, he's like, digging in. It made sense. You were digging in with these businesses, finding out, uncovering different things. And it was like, yeah, but you had to explain it.
There you go, being
like,
clever again,
shit.
Eric.
Oh,
yes,
man.
exactly. Because you want to be
assuming
you
the
want
general
cool.
population,
Right. But at least now it says exactly what it is.
So you've got Discovering Grayslake podcast, and then now you also have Libertyville, right?
Yeah, so Libertyville, it's taking a little bit longer to get some things off the ground, and I know a lot of people there, but it's been a little bit more of a struggle to do because it's not like in this town I know so many people.
Yeah,
so it's
been
easy
here
to
forever,
I can send a text, a call, and say, hey, give me 5 people. So it's a lot more of the introduction thing, and what we do too is a big trust thing.
Oh
People
my
are going to
God,
sit down and spill their guts, or worried about what they're going to say, or I don't have a story to tell.
I can't tell how many people have said, we're going to do this for an hour. I don't have that much to say.
Right.
And then an hour's up. Like, wait, I got more.
Right.
Every single
We didn't
time.
talk about this.
Yeah,
right.
Every time.
No, but it's true. So it's a little bit more difficult that way. And actually having something that's established and then trying to start from the bottom again and grow.
Let me tell you
it's
about
a little
that.
frustrated. Yeah. And then looking at your listens to see how many people listen or how many
Stop
people
doing
are.
that. Stop doing it.
I know.
I mean, we have to, but
right. I've got to the point where I think even with like video posts that I make and podcasts, I'm like, oh, this one's a banger, man. Everybody's gonna love this. And that one sucks. And then a show that we put out that I would never think like triples in listens.
Yeah.
Because you never know who's interested. And that's the hard thing. And you hope that through these they build and they tell their friends, and then people are interested in the content that's being put out.
Yeah, mine has been, I'm only 8 episodes live. Yeah, I've gotten only 8 episodes live. And it's already like, I was super shocked. Like, one of my episodes, they had like 11,000 followers on social media. Mm-hmm. It was, for the correlation to their social media presence and to my listens,
Right.
did not correlate to
Right.
somebody who didn't. Let's put it that way.
Right.
It's just like, they did well, but they should have done, I would have assumed, exponentially well, because they're exposing their story to 11,000 of their followers,
Sure.
right? Like, hey, they want to hear it.
So I'm going to be an asshole right now and say how many of those 11,000 were purchased.
So I don't, from my understanding, but from my understanding, they weren't. Because I actually called them out on it.
Yeah.
And they're like, not. But the problem is, so I'll say who it is. It's Harbor Brewing.
Yeah.
They've got 11,000 Instagram followers. But the problem is that beer scene, they got people from like, just from all over the world following them, right?
Sure.
Because it's just different beers, or, they go to Colorado to one of the beer national events, and you got all these other beer vendors following them. But they don't honestly care about what's happening locally, right?
Correct.
So I get it. And, and I also understand the algorithms suck now, too.
Right.
So they're 11,000 followers. They post about it, 100 of them see it, 500 see it maybe.
Yeah, they think like 3%, I think is what
is
it
that
is.
the average? Yeah, it's something like that. Yeah.
So that's why if I post 100 times, then hopefully people will actually see everything. Yeah. So no, then that's hard. But yeah, it can get discouraging.
Yeah,
the way that things are. But you just keep on trucking through. And
or
that's
we
why,
talk about the difference between downloads and listens.
Yeah, exactly. Or what the IAB listens are, and I don't even.
Or how long they listen for. Sometimes I'm like, the numbers don't even they add up. They don't even add up.
They do not.
Like I'll go directly to Spotify's and I'll say 100 people listened. Mm-hmm. And then I'll go into my Buzzsprout that supposedly aggregates all of it, and it says like 33 listened.
Right. So I think we should just stop looking at them.
100%.
Stop looking at them just to promote the people, get it out there.
But I have to know if it's but for us, so the way we if you guys listen, to any podcast, the way we monetize and be able to keep it running is ads.
Right.
But our advertisers want to know how many eyes are getting, or ears
absolutely
are getting on it. So I don't know. It's a hot mess.
No, it is. And at least locally with the sponsors that I have, that all of them, and a shout out to them. Thank you to every single one of them that, they know that the population of people that are listening are hyper local. So a 50 listen podcast to a sponsor could be a big deal once a week, because what are they paying for that compared to if they're going to run a Facebook ad, or it's just recognition. And I'm really surprised they want to be affiliated with me. I mean, that's the only thing I question about.
Hey, you said it. You said it.
No, and you know what? And they're all cool because they believe in what I do. And if we drop the F-bomb or we're talking about something that's completely ridiculous,
they're okay with it.
Then they're okay with it. And well, so far,
as of yet,
as of yet. Somebody asked me the other day if we were competitors, and
no,
I said like. I think I'm like Clubber Lang, and you're like Rocky. Like we have a friend. Well, they weren't friends. No,
I was like,
no.
Well, that's
wait,
actually
that's a bad one. How about Apollo and Rocky, because they got to be friends and then they work together.
Well, and I thought about it too. Like I think we actually even joked about it on your when I was on your podcast. Thank you. But we are competition, but like everybody could listen to both podcasts, and it's a different experience. It's
Absolutely.
It's not. It's like going to two different pizza joints. Like they're competition, but you could eat at both. Like.
It's great.
Yeah.
No, and everything has a different flavor to it.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. I was just listening to one of your episodes, and you said, well, the other podcast, I'm like, gosh, Eric, just say it. Say my name. Say my name.
Say it.
It was funny. I was listening because there's going to be some crossover things.
Of course.
But it was fun because you talked to those people about things that I didn't talk to them about, which is great. And everybody uncovers their story differently. And great, because I hope that people that weren't listening to mine were listening to yours, and then these great people and businesses get the exposure, because that's all it is about.
And I'm not gonna lie, I'm kind of jealous in a sense. So there's like the part you get to do that, just I'd have to totally go off track, but like you can interview individuals that just have great stories.
Yeah.
And mine's just like mine's hyper focused on small businesses, and I want it to be that. But
Right.
like I know some really cool people that like they're not in small businesses, or they're, they're a big wig at some big corporate America company, but they're doing a lot of side things, and it's just like,
right.
But I have to I'm too new, let's put it that way, to like stray off my
Right, I understand.
my niche,
But
you sort of say,
Well,
and
you named the podcast, man. You did change it.
I
Yeah,
did.
I get to sit down and talk to Charlotte Renahan, who's 92 years old and knows everything about Grayslake.
Yeah,
it was
that's great. That was
just a great experience, just to learn stuff and meet really cool people.
I think that was the one that you went like an hour and a half, 45 minutes.
Okay, so her and I talked for an hour before and about for 45 minutes after.
Oh my
So I
gosh.
spent almost 4 hours, like 4 hours with her.
Wow.
Yeah, and
I mean,
she's
you probably
awesome.
could have kept going too. Oh yeah.
Oh, and she could talk about Grayslake forever.
Well,
Forever.
I don't think people realize how many like massive transitions of like the lifestyle of Grayslake has been through, and like where it stemmed from and where it's been,
Right.
and hell, who knows where it's going now.
Right.
But
Yeah, when I grew up, this house wasn't here. So
Yeah.
it's kind of fun. Like I grew up here, and I got to hear the story of how these places and how these subdivisions came, and even from schools closing because there wasn't enough kids in Grayslake to keep Woodview School open. Who in their wildest dreams that would ever
Yeah,
think
right.
that? Now it's like
they need another one,
right. And how many? No, we don't want any more schools. Just got the tax bill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Not
Yeah.
not
No,
good at
thank
all.
you.
No, but there's enough diversity, and I like the people you're talking to, and the way everything goes. That I like when you can take one little tidbit of value out of
And that's
out
what
of
I
things.
hope.
Yeah.
I was actually, I think I talked about this a little bit on the last episode, but the amount of B2B connections I've made because of this podcast. I mean, it's great if you get a new customer or whatever, but like the partnerships and like B2B things that they've connected already, and I'm just getting in. Like my foot's barely in the water, and I'm like, yeah, X meet Y. Like here we go. Like good luck. Like It's unreal.
Oh, I have people call all the time. Hey, you just interviewed so and so. I need this. Can you hook us up? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's great to see people come through. And then with the other events we're doing, to see how these businesses collaborate is unbelievable.
So great segue. Let's talk about your events.
Oh my
so
God.
we just had at the time of recording this, we just did the 80s ladies night, right?
Yes.
How did that go? Okay. All right. Here we are moving to the R-rated section of the conversation. All right.
It was great. And, it's funny from a marketing aspect. I made it 80s Ladies Night because I thought every single guy in Grayslake would want to come to that.
None of them came.
I think we ended up with 120 some people,
Okay.
which we told that we wouldn't be able to get 100 there on a Thursday night. It was a benefit for
Hate,
Dog
I
and
love
Suds.
the haters.
Yeah. Oh,
Love
yeah.
the haters.
Challenge
Like,
me to
bring
do
it.
something.
Let's go. Yeah.
What kind of video do I need to do to get people there? So that it was fantastic. That one was for Dog and Suds. And I think the coolest thing to see that now I'm saying we put the fun in fundraiser, or the FU in fundraiser, whichever way you want to go.
Both.
And I want to call it Friends for Benefits, but I have too many ideas. I don't know which one to stray from. But the folks from Dog and Suds came, and they were there almost the entire evening.
Oh, that's
They
so
were
awesome.
shaking hands, telling people how appreciative they were. Just a solid team of people that were so appreciative that I think it really brought a lot of flavor to it. But I also think 75% of the people there had no idea what the charity was.
I can't tell you how often that happens.
Yeah. Well, it was a dance party. It was an 80s ladies dance party.
Yeah.
And they came to drink, have fun, and then they threw some money in a 50-50 raffle, and we win.
So it sounds like, Dave, you're just trying to throw parties where a bunch of women come through.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, and the first one, the Bachelor auction.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Bachelor.
Again, Dave, I'm saying you just like throwing parties and trying to get all the women to show up.
I'm kind of noticing that one. We're branding the next one a little bit different, but you know what? It's been fun to see local. We're trying to make sure that it only benefits local people, such as the
love that,
podcast is. The first family with a quadriplegic son. Awesome story. Almost tear up just thinking about it.
Yeah.
So we made $21,000 for that family.
That's unreal, dude.
Yeah,
That's incredible.
It was great. Thank you. And it was, so the father had leukemia. And the great outcome of all of this is I just got a text message from her 2 weeks ago. So he's in complete remission.
Oh, that's amazing.
But he needs this experimental drug that they're giving him and to keep him, and he's back to work. But they're using the money for the experimental drug. So shout out to everybody at Grayslake that came to that. So they're getting back to normal. Obviously, their life is, another thing to go through where you think you're having it bad. Like their son's the same age as my son. And to go visit him, in the wheelchair and non-responsive to most things and nonverbal, and awesome family.
Love that.
So did that one, and then did Dog and Suds, and the next one coming up, we're doing and probably by the time this airs, maybe it'll be done. But we're having a '90s party.
Now we're talking.
Yes.
That's my music era. The clothing.
It's gonna
now
be
we're
a
talking.
jam.
There we go.
Yeah, and that is going to be there's a 5-year-old girl in Grayslake who has also leukemia. And no matter what happens with her, for the next 2.5 years, she's going to need these drugs. So we're going to try to raise enough money at least to help the family.
Anything helps. I know how that
And
goes.
the grandma is now sick, but she was helping take care of the other girl that was at home. So now grandma is sick. She needs care. So the husband and wife have not been together for one night since April. So now it would be 2 months back and forth. I believe they're still at Lutheran General. So everything from raising money for them. They have a dog that's there at their house that they're looking for a foster family till they can get their family back together. There's so many different aspects that go into it, and money doesn't cure everything.
Of course not.
But it sure does help
helps.
sometimes.
Sure shit does.
Yeah, because somebody's gonna have to stay home. How can they both have jobs?
Yeah.
So if we can do something fun, and I really it's good for people to know the story, because maybe they'll donate more money to them. But if you don't know the story and you like dancing to 90s music, we will still have you come. And it's a great time.
Of course.
And we need different stuff.
Oh, this town needs it. I'm not going to lie.
Where do you go dancing? Where does girls say, oh, let's go dancing? Where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Right. So hopefully we do a once a month thing. Maybe people will come, have fun. Shout out to First Draft. Tom over there has been absolutely wonderful to us.
Dude, that space you need it. It's awesome up there.
And it's nothing against any other place in town for sure, because it's the only place that can handle that many people. And it's perfect. We have like a nightclub up there with a bar attached to it. You can get food and a deck outside. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
How do you not?
It works perfect. And it's fun, and it's something.
So if you don't want to help
going.
children with cancer, at least come out and dance and buy a couple of drinks.
Right.
Wow.
If you don't like helping people, just come dance. Put on a stupid 90s outfit and come out and dance. Because no, it's a good time though. I'm really enjoy.
What's the date of that?
That is June the 27th. We're doing them on Thursday nights, and we do them upstairs at First Draft because I want it to be private events. I don't like people walking.
You guys are hearing this the week after.
Let me tell you how good that party was last week. Let me tell you. But it'll be interesting as a follow-up maybe on the post we make and see how much. So I'm going to go on record on this saying that, because I don't know how much money we're making, but we're going to make Between $5,500 and $6,000.
All right, here we are on June 3rd at a late hour of the day.
Right. Very, very late.
He makes the call of 5,500 to
55 to 6,000.
All right.
Hopefully that'd be good.
Yeah.
That is
doable.
That would be happy. Yeah. Then we got to decide what we do from there. So
And the next one and the next one.
I think it's these.
Have you thought about like? I mean, obviously, I love the one-off with the families and stuff, but like maybe just partnering straight up like with a local charity, and then just it's always like because then you can leverage their network too.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah.
I'm a stubborn ass.
I bet you are. No way.
No, I never figured that one out. I want to be the guy to hand it to the family.
I love that.
I don't want it to get lost in administration. I don't want to get it lost through whatever it is. And no offense to the great charities that are out there, and they're doing a great job. It's just the way I feel about it, and the way that I want to go with it is that I can see the direct effect, and I can tell people when I meet them on the road if they donate $200 the night before. We have a picture of us handing that money directly to them. There's no middleman.
Yeah. I was I'm not going to say the charity because I don't want to put them on blast, but I was on the chair for a foundation, and I literally stepped down because of how, like you guys are literally wasting money.
Yeah.
That could literally go to the cause.
Exactly.
It's like they did, it was it was a gala, and that was like my last straw on the camel's back. And they were arguing on how nice the centerpieces were. And it they had a really nice, like, let's say $1,000 option for all the tables. But, well, this is a gala. We need to do it with a $10,000 option. I'm like, no one's going to fucking notice.
Absolutely not.
And you just took $9,000 that the family could get or that actually go to help.
Yep.
And light it on fire with some flowers in the center. I was like, I was so done.
Exactly.
I was so done.
It's hard. And then also with big companies like that, they have people to pay. There's people to do it. All of ours is completely volunteer. I have a handful of people that help me, and just out of the kindness of their heart, and they do everything from helping design stuff to working the door to these people that they're helping me and sponsoring. We have local sponsors that help fund it, and then they give up their time that night to help.
That's incredible.
Yeah, some great people here.
Anybody you want to like plug?
Oh my gosh!
No,
See,
too many. Okay,
I feel like so the one we just did, we for some reason I limited it to 5 sponsors because I was worried about the exposure that businesses would get.
Yeah.
And then you hear about a 5-year-old with leukemia, and I say, fuck it, we want as many sponsors as we can. I mean, we still represent, we still tag them in every post, we still have all of their logos flashing through TVs the whole night.
100 companies, who cares? Yeah.
But it's not about them.
Yeah.
You know what? If they want to help out and on the kindness of their heart. So the first 10 people that we asked, I think in 16 minutes we had 10 sponsors. I spent it out, just a text message to the people that sponsored bachelor auctions and things like that. So
all my small businesses that are listening, if you want to get involved and help out with all these incredible events, get a hold of Dave. And how do we get a hold of Dave if they want to do that?
You subscribe on Discovering Grayslake and hit unsubscribe on Small Business.
Whoa. We're going to edit that shit out.
It's really easy to find. Look up Discovering Grayslake. All my contact info is there.
Perfect.
And hopefully we'll continue to do these as long as we can, as long as we have the support of the community.
Always.
And we're going to try to keep things real, and that really will affect just an individual around here. And it brings me joy. It brings, we don't make any money on it. I spend all month, now it's like we got done and the next day we had the flyer for the next one. Mm-hmm. So, but there's I think it's being surrounded by my billionaire friend that I'm doing the movie for, to see a guy that's such a philanthropist that see how they can change people's life with your time.
Yeah. And that's the, God, can we stop being so much alike? So that's like so one of the benefits or perks that came out of running the Jeep Club that I did for years was, a lot of the philanthropy part of it, helping. My direction was more directed towards veterans and homeless veterans specifically. And I still do a lot for that. We actually have I think by the time this airs, my event's going to be passed.
Right.
Too.
How much are you going to make on that one?
None.
Make a guess?
But, how much we're going to raise?
Yeah.
So it's one of the smaller ones. I'm hoping like three or 4,000. But it's a check that goes right to helping homeless veterans, get back on their feet. But all it is we it's a double win. And not that it always has to like promote the small businesses too, but what we do is we take things from either donated from our small businesses, whether it's a gift card, a product, something like that, and then we take a huge Yeti and we raffle it off.
Awesome.
And then all it does, so I have myself and a bunch of people from the organization I work with, and we
hundreds of people have never even heard of it talk about it. So whether they're buying a raffle ticket and raising money then, but I can't tell you how many people like come and support in a different way after that. So it's definitely a brand awareness type move for us too.
Absolutely.
For that event specifically. But it's just, I always try to find a way to give back, and it's just not enough, man.
And I think everybody needs to do that. And I'm not tooting your horn, my horn, whatever, but
we have to sometimes, man.
Well, it's fun. You know what? And the satisfaction that I get out of that is way better than making money for myself. It's really cool. It's really cool just to walk out of there.
Can we do both?
We would hope so, and hopefully that turns into
One
something
day.
down the line, possibly. But the satisfaction that comes out of there, because you can. I think when we were talking about like the DJ business for so long, and you bust your ass to make money, but where does it go? So, and if this has a direct effect on somebody, I think it's huge. It's huge.
Love that.
Yeah. So yeah, we're doing all kinds of things.
You got anything else like any like breaking news you can drop on the podcast?
Breaking news. Let's see. Nothing that I really want to start my 50 Shades of Grayslake.
Do I even want to know what that means?
Actually, it doesn't come from. It kind of goes against my philanthropy part of everything.
I was like, this sounds a little counterintuitive.
And spreading good news. No, I really think that there's enough scandals and all of these other things, and in my devious part of me would like to take some people down.
And on that note, this podcast just ended.
So be my friend. So make sure to sign up, buy your tickets for everything.
Subscribe.
Yeah, no, or just weird stories that come out of different things, just some different angles on some things. Because there's so many people in this town that are doing great things. Mm-hmm. I was just looking at a calendar events for June. I mean, you can't drive through this town right now. There's a art festival. There's the beer fest. There's a comedy show at Sienna's.
Yeah, they're also doing I felt like it was 2004 over. They're doing a speed dating event.
I saw the speed dating.
I was like,
and
okay.
Another guy I really respect in this town, too, is Natter. Is that how you say his name correctly? No. And Beer Bazaar, they just come up with different fun stuff. And I love that he doesn't do one. I love that he just keeps kicking ass. He's doing all these trivia nights, and he just keeps after it. And for people listening to this for business podcast things, I think he is a great example of. I'm sure all of them are a huge success, but he just keeps on pushing forward.
Yeah,
and that resilience is it's awesome to see. It was like,
and I love what his wife's doing with the art side of it. It's very different. You know, it's like that's the art. Oh my God, craftsmanships. Something like that.
Yes.
Yeah, she's doing some like arts and crafts stuff. Like, I'm like, that's cool. It's just different. And that's what I'm looking for, man. I love that stuff.
And it brings other flavor to the community and gives everybody something to do.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much to do. And looking back at like business things, as I was listening to another one of your podcasts, and I like business strategies and seeing all the things that people do are marketing wise, with all the, from parades coming up to see how different people do things. And I look back and giggle at all just the stupid shit that we did. I mean, I bought a 40-foot black bus to be in parades.
Who doesn't? Anybody who's ever been to Grayslake in like the last 10 years plus, not remember the black bus.
Yeah, and we gave out, over those years, we gave up 12,000 fly swatters because it was the Memory Maker SWAT team. Stupid. But, that's...
But it's memorable.
It worked.
Yeah.
For still people say,
hey,
are you the guy with the big black
stupid,
bus?
But it worked.
Right. Mm-hmm. And that's... Not everything worked out that way. Yeah.
But you'd only need a couple. I mean, you try until, it's like we talk about overnight successes. We try, how many times you accompany, an entrepreneur started a business and 6 times they failed before they got the one that worked.
Absolutely.
It's like all of that.
I'm still waiting to have something work. I mean, we've done enough stuff, but in the same time, do what you love and keep after it. And hopefully it's marketable to somebody that they're going to find that they need some service that you offer.
Yeah, absolutely.
And something out of the box. So don't call me if you're boring.
Well,
unless you got a lot of money.
That's why you don't answer my call. God, I don't. Shit.
That's why it's been like 4 months since we had to get in here.
So out of all the things you do, what's your favorite? Like, if you could say, like, if I could be a millionaire doing off of this thing, what would that be?
That's a really, really good question. I enjoy the podcast stuff a lot.
You just like hearing yourself talk.
I don't listen back to anything. I'm in the radio too much and DJ'd for too long. Actually, the one thing that I would love to do is, and I love doing the small Grayslake podcast, but I would like to incorporate that with the philanthropy side of things and do a nationwide podcast and do something on unsung heroes in the United States, people that are doing great shit for people that you don't ever hear their stories. Yeah. There's so many. But the problem with that is is it's 2024 and it's America. How many people want to listen to good, heartfelt stories? There's probably a lot of people.
There are, but how do you get in front of them? Well, we've been talking about this, right? You know,
the 50 Shades of Grayslake uncovering dirt would have more listens than a guy
initially
helping people out.
But so that's what we talk about. So segue or plug here. So business people talk about short-term success and long-term success. I think your 50 Shades of Grey would kill it in the beginning.
Short time.
But you only have so much runway there. There's only so many stories. Grayslake's only so big, right? But you would have that immediate endorphin, like, oh yeah, 100, 200, 300 people are listening right now, right off the bat.
Right.
But if I do the heartfelt one, 5 people listen, sweet. Sure. 7 people, year and a half from now, 2 years from now, you have 10,000, 20,000, 30,000, because your audience can be that big. And I think, that's a choice we make whether our podcast or not, right? But I think this is a great business lesson as well. When people think about it like, I'm at the farmer's market and I'm selling cookies right away. But you can only sell, there's only so many people that go to a farmer's market. There's only so many farmer's markets you can go to, is the business scalable, and that's, actually I just met with, Three-Legged Brewing.
Yeah.
They just actually went on tap at Beer Bazaar. That is some of the best cold brew I've ever had in my entire life. Shout out. But, we talked about, scalable, it's like, people get too caught up on the immediate fat satisfaction.
Absolutely.
Or you get one person that says this is amazing. Well, it doesn't mean your whole business needs to change. It's like,
right.
Or the other way. This is stupid. Don't do it.
Sure.
Listen to haters, believers,
Exactly.
But anyway.
Well, no, and look at that. So if we can get a episode and let's say an average of, let's just call it 300. So 300 people in Grayslake listen to an episode.
Yeah.
Okay, so...
By the way, that's like really good for people who don't know numbers about podcasts. It was eye-opening for me.
Yeah, but also it's episode almost 80.
Yep.
So it didn't start that way. Yeah. So, but it grows and grows. But what if that was something that was appealing to people nationwide? And then we have 300 from Grayslake, 300 from here, 300 from there, 300 from there, 300 from there. And then, just the state of Illinois, you would have tens, hundreds of thousands of listens.
I'm currently Googling. So for those of you who don't know, Joe Rogan has the most successful podcast in the world. I wanted to see, what did they
I've never listened to an entire episode.
It's funny. I haven't either. And I don't like some of them. Like I like some of the clips out of it.
Sure.
And all that.
Oh yeah.
I
watched a ton of the clips, but he's got millions.
So he has millions of number of.
And also, didn't he sign a exclusive with Spotify?
Oh, like for millions and millions of dollars. Well, yeah, because he was on. Was he on everything, and then Spotify paid a fortune just to be on?
Yeah,
Spotify?
They went on exclusive. Yeah.
But I'm trying to find the. I thought this would be an easier Google, but either way, he's got millions of followers, but like he's still on average. Like I want to say it's like tens of thousands of listens only.
Right.
Per episode.
Which is surprising.
When you have 1 million followers, subscribers, subscribe, by the way.
Right.
That helps us so much. But that again, it goes back to the quality of the listener and the quality of the content.
Absolutely.
It's like,
yeah.
Anyway.
And the content has
I
to
lost
be.
where I was going with all that.
No. On a scalable thing that we can do, I think it's a hopefully I'll be able to find a niche where I'm not going to get bored with something and it can be global.
Yeah.
The motorcycle podcast I did, I think at one point we were in 38 different countries and we were getting $12,000 listens an episode.
Oh shit.
And I was doing recordings in the middle of the night because somebody was in
time difference.
Peru,
or
something. So that was during COVID, so everything was over Zoom, and we do those recordings. But it was cool.
How was the sound quality on those?
Actually, they're pretty damn good.
Really?
Actually, go on and listen. It's the Pigeonhole. I didn't want to get pigeonholed, so the hole has WHOLE, which probably screwed me because when they looked up the pigeonhole had a W in front of it, so when people didn't know that, they would look it up and couldn't find it.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
So it's the hole.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the play on words actually put me on the play on words, which kind of cycled back.
No pun intended.
And actually, when we named it that, because I didn't want to plan on just doing, I didn't want to be pigeonholed and doing motorcycle shit. And the exact thing happened because that's where the people were listening and that's what they were interested in.
because that's been my. I mean, I know I'm super early on to be even saying that, but my holdback on some of the interviews is I insist on doing it in person because of the sound quality. But,
Truth.
Like,
And a lot of people turn it off. It's the main reason people turn it off, except for seeing my name on there. I mean, besides that, then the audio quality is a huge thing. But a lot of ours in the beginning were shit. We didn't have the place to record them at, but you hope that the content goes over it.
Yeah.
But then some of the Zoom ones were good. But also, doing them on Zoom, I recorded them video-wise and then uploaded them to YouTube. So then we had the people in there. Yeah. And it's amazing to see how your numbers go when you have a hot chick you're interviewing and you put that on YouTube.
So you don't even need the video for that.
100,000 like on YouTube people that watched her because she was like a model and she's this sexy woman that was into motorcycles. But then when I did that one, I felt like I was taking away the integrity of what we were doing and what my mission was because, I got slack for that too. Like, why are you interviewing her? She's a motorcycle model, but she was into motorcycles and tattoos. So she fit the culture. Yeah. But people thought I was selling out. Now, if she would have been ugly, nobody would have said anything to me.
Isn't so hypocritical?
I know. Yeah. Welcome to America.
Double standards.
Yes, exactly. Right. No, but that's good. Yeah. But so that's the goal. That's what I'm going to try to get something out, and hopefully with those things, there's a lot of corporate sponsorships that I think they actually have to do for certain people that are doing things with a good cause. I know it fits into a certain philanthropy thing where they have to give so much money back a year to somebody who's actually doing good. So if I got 5 listens, an episode and was making, $7,000 an episode, I'd still try to do good for people.
Yeah, right. I wish. God, I wish that was a problem.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, right.
So how's your sponsorship for the podcast?
So I've been holding out intentionally.
All right.
Because what I want to do.
Who are we looking for?
Yeah, good question. So I want to do where it's one. I think the model I'm going to go down, I'm going to do one sponsor a month.
Okay.
But the value is going to be higher. But I'm also going to do, and this is going to be in recording, 50% of the sponsorship is going to go to the charity of their choice.
Awesome.
So that gets your name on the podcast. You're going to pay a little bit more, but half that money is going to go to charity.
Awesome.
So, and then right now I'm kind of in the point of like, I got to build the numbers. Right. Like that's the game I'm playing right now.
Sure. Have you had anybody yet? Because we get it all the time. Like, holy cow, we'll just use Charlotte Redhead since we already used her name. You have Charlotte coming up. We want to sponsor that episode.
I've had a couple like that. And then I said, make me an offer. And I was just like, yeah, no.
Yeah.
Like, I just, as much as like, I'm like, I appreciate the financial like point of it. And I'm like, and then I counter and then I'm like, well, that's not just, I'm like, well, how many people are listening? What I'm having a hard time doing is educating the advertiser on like, you're only getting in front of, let's say 100 people, but the intentiveness to that commercial is far beyond a TikTok, with something you can just keep skimming right by or skipping right over in an Instagram. I mean, technically you can do it on a podcast too, but they're committed. They're just going to listen through it, right? And you have a way higher ROI even with the lower audience.
I compare a monthly sponsor on our show, and I say, compare this to the numbers I'm going to show you that people actually listen attentively to mailing a postcard. Mailing a postcard to Grayslake is like $3,500, $4,000.
That high?
Right. How many postcards do you look at that come in your mailbox?
0.
Exactly.
They go straight to the recycle bin. I don't even look at them. Right. I like, oh, it's a card. I don't even know who it is.
Do you know why I save them? Because I asked those people to sponsor. Because that's
a great point.
They're wasting their money.
And if anybody's listening and spends $3,500, I'll charge you half that and guarantee somebody hears you.
Right.
Guarantee it. I'll guarantee bold, underline, italicized.
And then they can see the numbers of people that listen.
Yeah.
And especially and you're local. So especially for mine, it's been easier because it's hyper local. It is Grayslake. But now we have advertisers from outside of Grayslake that want to get on, but to stay true to what I'm doing, I need to only have Grayslake people until I can't pay my mortgage.
I mean, it's debatable. I mean, because the other thing about it is like your customer base is in Grayslake, but we don't only eat in Grayslake. We don't only shop in Grayslake.
I know.
So, I mean, if you're still staying to the local point of like, you're not bringing in like shit. If Best Buy wants to sponsor this podcast, go for it. Give me a call. But you're still, supporting local, shop local, all that. I mean, it's still within your principles.
Right. No, and if they are a service that services Grayslake,
100%,
then it's a different story too. Yeah. So it's a hard thing, but I mean,
it's advertising.
At the end of the day, we like doing what we're doing, but after, let's say I get to my 100th episode, if we had to calculate the time that it went through to do 100 episodes and put them out, and the amount of money that we've got in sponsorship, I'll be making about $2 an hour.
Oh, I don't.
If you actually talk about what it costs, but it has to have the certain value to people. It's cool, and I'm honored that these people want to be associated with me, and hopefully they're getting the business. If nothing else, it's brand recognition. If it's not an immediate sale, I've had people say, "Oh, hey, that person's on your podcast." They're one of the sponsors, so if they recognize it, hopefully they're saying it to them too.
Yeah, and
obviously they must be, because they're still there. And I would shout out to how good the Grayslake community has been to me. Local sponsors that are on there right now, even governmental organizations, from the Village Center to the Grayslake Chamber of Commerce to the Grayslake Park District, and then going to other businesses from Andy's Records and Grayslake Rehabilitation and Right at Home, Mike
all
Steiner, Jam and Teas. Like, they've been, everybody's been really, really good to us. Jody Sinkmars in the beginning, Randy Cashmore in the beginning. So we've had a hand. Wow, I feel very fortunate actually saying all the names.
As you're rattling off for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, I'm probably I'm sorry if I didn't say your name on there, but
fortunately, this is my podcast, not your podcast.
Right,
so
exactly.
Okay. So it's okay.
See, they just got advertisement on yours.
Yeah.
They should pay you.
Yeah, so your invoice will be in the mail.
No,
you didn't feed the fine print on Discovering Grayslake's contract?
That's right. Yeah. Check it out. But I hope that people... I don't know if we mentioned this before, but anybody who's listening probably should subscribe right now.
Oh.
It's just a random thought.
I mean, they should subscribe to this podcast. They should subscribe to Discovering Grayslake
Hey, look,
podcast.
I'm wearing a shirt today, too.
And you know what?
Look at that.
Because they're so far away and you never go over there, you should also check out Libertyville's Discovering Libertyville podcast.
Oh my gosh.
Man.
Yes, and we've had some really cool ones, and we got some really cool ones coming up. We're kind of putting some things in the bank because it's so hard to, as you know, staying ahead.
Yeah.
And every week, or if somebody cancels on you, and that's week's episode.
Well, that's the boat I didn't want to get into. So I've got a nice little bank of interviews.
Right. Wait till they go down though, and then you can call me and be like, "I'm stressed out."
It's not gonna. I'm not gonna get there. Oh man. Don't freak me out, man.
No, I used to say it's like running a podcast is like DJing. So I always hated the song "What I Like About You" by the Romantics. Is that what it sings?
Is
it?
My
God. Anyway,
I know the song.
So what I like about you, I hated it, and I would never play it.
Really?
I would never play it, but when I couldn't think of a song to play, it was always my go-to one. So I think you should always have a podcast episode that has no immediacy to it, and you just keep it there. So if you need it for a buffer for a week, then
what podcast? So everyone tells me that, and I think you did this type of episode. Everyone's telling me, like, Eric, your story's crazy. You need to be interviewed.
Yeah.
So I think that's the one I'll keep, like, just in case. Like, no, you guys, you ain't going to get my story,
Right.
No, but just in case.
Right. But if you'd like to hear that story, you can go to Discovering Grayslake podcast right now.
Right now, and it's on there.
See it. And listen to it right away.
Oh, man, was that like a layup for you right
that
there?
Was.
Just a slam dunk?
Straight up. So who are you really excited about coming up? Do you have some people that are coming up after this, or somebody you're after that we can really look forward to hearing?
Yeah. So one that I was like really excited about that went really well, that actually would have aired already by the time we did this. So Beer Bazaar, his story is just incredible.
It's great.
One that I've just put on the books that I'm excited that it definitely won't be out by the time we record. This is live, but at least maybe it'll be recorded. McHenry Outdoor Theater. So awesome. I know I expand a little different, more outside than you do.
Yeah.
But his story is incredible. So I had a little phone call with him the other day, and it's just like, dude, we got to get you on. Your friend Amy.
Oh my God.
She's actually she drops in 2 days of the day recording this. She comes out on Wednesday.
She was all over the video for the 80s party.
She promoted the hell out of that.
Did she really?
Yeah, dude. And she loved it.
And, oh my God. Yeah. Well, Amy's been a friend of mine forever. We went to high school together, and yeah.
You know what the best part about that podcast was? I don't think I talked.
No.
She just
absolutely
like,
not.
All right, and we're here with Amy, and I came back an hour later, and
Just
just
get
had
the
to
hell out of the
handle
way.
it.
Yeah, you don't need a
no.
host for her. She's great.
Her energy was incredible. God, there were so many. We have so many good ones in the bank, and I feel like I want to plug them all. Actually, a gentleman I just met with yesterday. I actually did a headshot event over at Harbor Brewing.
How did that go?
That was so much fun.
Cool.
That venue in the back that they got is incredible. But Steven, who started Briggs Financial, do you need a financial advisor? This guy is the most humbling, like honest, like he doesn't sell you like the cookie cutter crap, and he wants to make people who like make $45,000 a year or make $1 million a year, like, and wants to help them all. Like his mentality, his story, it just is another one that it was just like, I can't wait to get you recorded on the podcast, man. Let's talk.
Right.
But so many, there's so many, all you guys, every story's been different. And I think I want to kind of just give a shout out, like, props to you because you've been doing this for 70 more episodes than I have.
It's exhausting to hear.
We do the hardest business model of podcast there is, and that's interviewing people.
Right.
And most podcasts, if you pay attention to the podcast you're listening to, it's one or two people. It's the same 2 or 3, maybe 4 people. There's groups and stuff, but it's just them talking.
Right.
And then occasionally they might have a guest. Go watch how many podcasts that are not like a Joe Rogan or like some big celebrity that is interviewing somebody every single episode. Mm-hmm. Oh my God, what did I commit to, man?
Right. Right. Well, if you think about it, now that you're actually scary that we look at this, like 75 to 80 episodes, that's 75 individuals that you need to make time for, sit down, find them, seek them out, hear their story, go through it. And people are always saying, aren't you worried that you're going to run out of people? I'm like, hell no, there's 24,000 people in this town that everybody's got a story.
And everyone likes talking about them. Well, most people like.
Right. They don't realize until they start doing it. And when they're recommended by other people and their story is important and it brings value to, all the little nuggets you take out. Like I always get done and be like, man, I should have written that one down. I should have written that down.
Yeah.
Like all the ones that come out. Like,
I know you did the, get people to vote on your best episode, your favorite episode.
Yeah, we haven't posted
I was
those
wondering,
yet.
like, is anything
we
coming
have
that?
No, we have all 3, but you find out when you run a contest like that, people know how to vote for them. Yes. So if somebody's on board with it, there's one organic one that's in those 3. I'm not going to say which one it was.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, if people want to win something on the internet, they post it and say, "Hey, vote for me on a link." Unfortunately, it wasn't. We should have not done it on social media. We should have done it on the podcast to say, if you want to vote, here's the link and go vote. That way, actually, the people that are listening to the podcast would go and
actually vote versus somebody who has a ton of followers got all their followers to vote.
Exactly,
on it.
And nothing against them because all 3 episodes that I wanted are fantastic.
But you wanted some actual genuine data around what people was favored.
Sure,
yeah, but you wanted to also win to the people that.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it.
Yeah, so I think for our 100th episode, I guess that would be breaking news too. So for our 100th episode, I believe we're going to do a panel podcast.
Live
podcast, and we're going to stream it as well.
Yeah, I love it.
So we'll live stream it, we'll record it. And the 5 people that I'm going to pick won't be the people that have the most listens or anything. I'm going to try to find the 5 most different people in Grayslake that I can find, maybe with completely different views, and sit them all down and we can go through questions. I'm not sure exactly what content will be on that.
Yeah.
But to hear 5 people.
That's going to creep up really fast.
Oh, yeah.
Are you still, is that counting with you? Because you're doing 2.
We went back to 1 for now.
I was going to say, you were doing 2 there for a minute. And I was like, dang.
And you know what? The only reason that we were doing 2, we had so much content to put out, but also, and shout out to how generous Grayslake has been to me that we had enough sponsors to do 2, and I didn't want to tell anybody no. But also at the same time, I felt that I didn't want to turn it into a business where I had to do it. I only want to do things that I want to do. I didn't want to push to do people that I didn't want to.
Maybe I don't understand. So you had enough sponsors that you had to do 2? I mean, do you mind? Like, what do you mean? Like I
felt that it was too saturated commercial wise for 1 episode.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to split them up, and I thought if we have that much support from the community that wanted advertising, we had that much support from people to listen. But also when you watch, and I know that we're not supposed to look at our listens.
No, but we have to.
But you watch how it arcs, and we do every Tuesday, because I always say see you next Tuesday.
Yeah.
So Tuesday, but by Friday or Saturday, that arc goes all the way down to maybe you're getting 8 listens on the weekend and every day.
Yeah.
But then when I did Friday one, then it would continue and that the listens would stay up, and then by the Tuesday. But I also thought that it's a dedication of a time for an hour a week to listen.
That's now 2 hours.
Yeah. So it's like watching a movie a week of listening to me talk to people.
How much historical listens are you getting? And what I mean by that, like, great, I just found your podcast. You have 77 episodes. How many people are like, are you seeing episodes from months ago, like getting listened to still?
Mm-hmm. A lot of them, because even now, people don't know about it. I've talked to people at the party last week and they're like, "Wait, will you have a podcast?"
No shit.
Yeah, and I was like
the thing's named after the podcast. Like,
yeah,
like, come on,
this
man.
is to bring fun to the community, to raise money for a family in need, and awareness for the show that we're doing, which is actually building community, and we're doing events to build community. So it all goes around to
full
everything.
Circle, yeah.
But those people that maybe listen, they hear somebody coming up and they listen to that one, and then they go through the Rolodex and they're like, "Holy shit!" Or people will be like, "Hey, you haven't? Have you talked to?" I don't, whoever.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, or John Boma. Yeah, well, me and John Boma had to split into 2 episodes, which should have been more censored. But we put both of those episodes out, but people didn't even know that happened 6 months ago.
Yeah.
So, but it's also hard to go through to go back when people scroll through.
Again, the platform does not make it easy.
They do not make it easy at all. The thing I suggest with people, if you know that there's someone from one of our podcasts has been on there, the best way to do it is actually go on there and look up their name. Not even look up our show names.
Yeah.
Look up their name and it'll pop up.
So fun fact, my name on my podcast has been used twice before. And they both didn't make it past 7 episodes.
Are you serious?
One has 6 episodes and one has 7 episodes.
Proof.
Yeah. And their concept, their podcasts were a little different too. But the name was exactly the same. And I'm like, I love the name so much, I'm not changing it again. And if they were like still active and like still doing something, maybe I would have changed it. But like, they both stopped years ago. I was like, all right, well,
And it happens all the time. And to try to find a unique name that'll go, you'll have to do like Discovering Grayslake. Like I always tell everybody that we're the #1 Grayslake podcast about Grayslake and Grayslake, about Grayslake people. And so it's the easiest thing to find.
Yeah, right.
At least the competition on that level is 0.
Right.
Because nothing is dedicated to that.
There's nothing that niche, yeah.
Right. Unless there's a publication that's put out to somebody who has a paragraph and a photo about somebody.
Or there's a Grayslake, California, and all of a sudden some guy's doing a podcast out there.
Absolutely.
Dude, I should just do that just to like fuck with you.
Just to see.
Just to fuck with you. I should just start like find another Grayslake.
just find it. I know there's another Libertyville. I know there's another Lake Forest, California.
Lake Forest, California. I used to get that shit all the time.
Yeah, no, wherever you look up. So
yeah, I'm gonna find another Grayslake. I'm
just put out there, make the same logo.
Discovering Grayslake,
everything exactly the same, and see what happens. Hey, maybe people will listen, and then just download my episodes and repurpose
maybe they
them.
cross over. Well, hey, I didn't say which Grayslake. I just said Grayslake.
I didn't either. Yeah, exactly. Or maybe people will start listening there.
I'll just feed you the episodes.
Wow. I wonder how many people are listening.
How many Grayslakes are there actually?
I don't know.
Well, maybe this is. Oh shit! Maybe this is scalable.
It is to there.
Wait. Okay.
I don't think. Maybe I can get sponsors from the other Grayslake. I don't think there's another Grayslake. Because, when you look up whether it's a Weather Channel or anywhere else, anytime you look up Grayslake.
There's the fact that Grayslake...
Maybe put a space between Grays and Lake, and then there probably is. See, you're finding out all new things here today. It seems like it would be impossible, or Grey.
I'm going to say Grayslake, Illinois' SEO is actually pretty good.
I'm gonna think so too.
I'm gonna try California just because it's a big Grayslake, California. Let's just say I think it's a big state.
I don't think so.
No, Grayslake Road.
Right.
All right. I'll try one more state. Let's try Texas. Let's just see. I'm gonna try because I'm just trying the big states. They got like so many cities.
There has to be one.
But we'll
see one more thing. Now we're gonna have to do an episode about how unique Grayslake is because there's not another one in the world.
Initial very very quick Google. There's nothing coming up, man.
See?
But all right, I'm gonna do a little research on that.
Right. Then we'd have to text their tax rate out to see what they are there.
Ooh,
yeah.
They can pay our taxes. Well, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah, depending on what they are.
Let's see.
We're one of the highest in.
I highly doubt they're higher than ours.
No, not even a little bit. Okay, so what I was asking you too is like, do you have a guest that might be listening? Like, do you have what's your moonshot? What's your who's the one person you'd love to have on that you don't think you can get on?
Okay, so
I don't know if I can talk about this. So I have one that might.
Okay.
It's a big maybe. Actually, I'm going to plug it because I hope he listens and then like he guilts into it.
He's out for this one by now.
So it's a stretch. So this guy he's actually originally from Lake Zurich.
Okay.
And then he made it like really, really big in his industry, and you'll know what I mean in a second. I'm like, because I'm looking it up because I want to say his last name. Well, his first name is super unique too, so it doesn't really matter. But so he made it huge, still is huge, but he wanted to come back to his roots, and he opened up a restaurant in Lake Zurich.
Okay.
And if any of you are following, you know the restaurant. It's called Lago, and his name's Fabio
Easy for you to say.
Vivivani. Very, very Italian, right?
Right.
This guy's been on like all the food, like the Food Network and all this, and like he hangs out with the wine guy from Shark Tank. Like this guy's made it.
Right.
But like he kind of seems like he's a little burnt out in that world, and his whole thing. So he opened up Lago was like to get like back to like the community and the whole thing. And I was like, well, dude, you're huge, but small business, you're local, like you want to support the community. Like, hey, come on the podcast.
Right.
Let's talk about it.
And how cool, what kind of support would he get locally for that too?
Yeah.
It's great.
So,
not that he needs it.
No,
but it's
he doesn't need it.
But it's a cool story.
It's a cool story. So
maybe it'll be cool and he'll do it.
Yeah. The other one, I mean, that's my like, and it's a blend because it's like I'm all about small business, and he doesn't need the support or anything, but I think it's a good story. Like we all can get to this point, and I think he understands that too. But I have a couple others, but those
nice.
But that one's it's actually in the works. We've been exchanging emails.
I like
stuff.
that.
He's got an agent.
Right.
Agent. Oh my god.
Yes.
Yeah.
See now, and when I was thinking about starting my podcast, the things that are doing nice things for other people, I'm like, oh, what if I could start at the top? And my friend who I'm doing the movie for, who's one of the top 20 richest men in America and the coolest dude ever. And he would be a great first guest and would have all these other people that we could get to and would do it.
He wouldn't do it?
Oh, he'll do it.
Oh, he will?
Oh, he would totally do it.
So why haven't you done
it? Just starting off like that, I think I need to have a commitment of going in. Yeah, I think that we'd have to have a bunch of others lined up.
Wait. Did I miss the punchline? Like lined up for like what?
Lined up for more podcasts of people that are doing great things across the United States.
Oh,
but, I mean,
you're talking about like a whole nother podcast.
Podcast.
Gotcha. Okay.
Exactly.
Now that's what I missed. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I think that would be when you're talking about guys that have made it. He wouldn't be on the small business one though. But he did put himself through Harvard by being a handyman at his apartment. So people hate rich people because they seem like they're always jealous about
overnight
things.
Successes. You know, it's
but I got to do.
Don't get me wrong. There's family money in some of these, but like some of them like really.
Yeah.
Worked for it, man.
And he has his basic biography on how to do stuff, and I got to read the audiobook, so I got to learn everything about him. But you want to talk about pressure, about doing another business thing I do, reading audiobooks.
Yeah.
Having a uber successful person who spent half of his life writing this book, and this is his life's work, and he hands it over me to narrate it, to put it out everywhere.
Oh, my God. No pressure.
No pressure at all. And he's so cool and had so much faith in me that he didn't even proof it.
I mean, so I will say that right there is exactly why that guy's rich. He's delegated and trusts.
That's all he does. And he will tell you, don't do anything.
Yeah.
And I think the most important thing he taught, which is probably a good thing out for this podcast, is to talk about being successful, how to get to where you want to be in life. And he just said, through everything, you work backwards.
Yeah.
You know what your goal is. You set your goal as high as you can, and then you make your plan backwards on everywhere you go. So now you actually know where you're going. You're just not going in blind. So set it, work backwards.
So I have a really interesting question for you.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever told you no?
Yeah.
Really? Like they just didn't want to come on the podcast?
Oh, on the podcast.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking of my entire life. I'm like, actually,
I've been rejected plenty of times. No, specifically to coming onto the podcast.
I will tell you, and this is one person has said no that I can remember. None of the motorcycle people did.
Okay.
No one ever said no. And actually, I worked for a billionaire there doing a film for him.
Shit. You got to stay hanging out with those people, man.
I wonder how a kid from Grayslake gets to work for two billionaires still. So, a guy in Grayslake, who we just did the benefit for. I will give a shout out to him. The actual owner of Dog and Suds.
Oh, he didn't want to come on Dog?
He told me no. I tried to interview him at the beginning of the season to try to give like a ramp up to talk about Dog and Suds. Yes, but here's why. So he said no in the beginning.
Right.
And then I didn't even ask him to do a fundraiser for him. I said, screw it. I'm doing a fundraiser for this guy. So I call him, talk to him, and I can say this because I think it's extremely genuine. I think people really need to know how genuine he is. He said, I didn't want to do it because you feature individuals. And my company is not individuals. We are a team. We work together. Everybody is important as the next person. We have 31 people that work here. We are a brand. We're nostalgic, and this is where we're going for it. And it's not about me.
And he could come on and say that. Did you tell him that?
But he didn't even like. He was almost like.
I get it.
But he's such a cool guy that he wouldn't say it. I can say it about him.
Yeah.
And also the other thing that people there's a lot of talk behind everything that happened, like with everybody talking shit on the internet about what happened there, the fire, all these other things that happened. But,
oh God, you
have insurance, you should be fine. Whatever.
Conspiracy stories and all this shit. Yeah.
So all the fundraising money that he's getting in from us, from the Vine, from Jeep Club, from everybody, if he ends up, all that money goes into a different account. Mm-hmm. And if he ends up where his insurance covers everything for him, which I don't think it's going to be.
God, no.
So let's say it does.
Yep.
He's keeping all that money to the bitter end. And if he doesn't use that money, he's going to use that money to sponsor local sports teams. Give it back to the community to different ways.
Oh, my God. So he's a saint. Got it. Okay.
He's awesome. And their whole team there is awesome. But
did you guys talk about that on the podcast? I haven't caught that episode
No,
yet.
because he doesn't brag about great stuff.
Well, you know what?
Right.
Here we are. You guys are all hearing it right here because,
I know.
Man, that's unreal.
I was talking to a friend in Grayslake, and I told her that story, and she's like, well, that's a good piece of information for everybody to know, that he's just going to hold on to it and give back to the community as they've given to him.
I hope he can.
Yeah.
I hope insurance pays up.
Yeah.
Man.
I know there's just stuff happening over and over again.
Do you have any insight? Like, are they going to be able to make it at all this season?
I'm actually not, because it's still under investigation. Things that I know things that I can't say.
Yeah.
So I know they're working hard on getting food trucks up and about.
I know Barbie Reduction stepped up to try to help them out. And the county's trying to get them up and running and all kinds of things.
And hopefully by the time this episode comes out, you will see a Dog and Suds food truck over in Central Park near the pool, and over in that area where people can actually go, and the village is doing their best to help them out.
And I know a bunch of people I've connected him with to if or when the food truck thing happens, that guaranteed bookings type things. So
yes, and even when he goes outside of Grayslake with the food trucks, he is so proud of our town that on his thing it's always Dog and Suds Grayslake. Yep. And everywhere he brings it, he still promotes his.
Dude, he was such a great host. The Jeep Club, man. He just
did he stay? He stayed at our event the whole time.
Yeah, man. It was great.
They're
just good people.
Yeah,
man.
Yeah,
wish more of them.
Shout out to them. And anybody talking shit about them, I'd like to talk shit about you.
Yeah. Come on the podcast.
Yeah, come on and see whatever bad you have to say, because human beings like that really, unfortunately, things happen to them. But I hope that the curse is a blessing for him, that with all the press and the media and everything that we've gotten.
Dude, he's going to get flooded. When that place opens up for the next month, every day is going to be sold out. Every day. Every day.
And it was kind of like the quiet, place that Dog and Suds is just there. Yeah. And you drive by it and you think all this stuff, but now knowing more about how their business model goes, how they're all family there, how, I asked him if he had kids, and he says, yeah, I got 31 of them. And he gets to watch them grow up, and he gets to see their. So knowing that and where his heart comes from, I will go there no matter what.
What do you get from there?
Texas burger. I mean, is there a question?
I know, dumb question.
Yes.
But Texas burger.
I can't even drive my kid by there because he wants a root beer float. So
literally have to drive the long way around.
Right, it's exactly what I do.
We're not going that way today.
We can't do it. What he used to call it something like. Something hot dog and something's the little guy. I'm like, no, it's not the name. Yeah.
We have friends that come up from Des Plaines just to go to that specific Dog and Suds just to see them.
It's great.
Yeah,
it's great. So shout out to the community for doing that.
Oh man, hey, well, Dave, we'll go.
No, I was just going to say before we wrap up, we should probably talk to people that they should subscribe to the show.
Oh, did we not talk about that yet?
No,
no,
we'll skip
we
that.
haven't.
We'll
No,
skip
no,
that
no, no,
part.
no. We need to bring it up. So it's super important, you guys, for podcasts. I mean, anybody, like, even if you like follow people on YouTube, subscribe.
Absolutely.
Discovering Grayslake's podcast, Discovering Libertyville podcast. And I'm going to double down on the Libertyville one because a lot of our followers, yours and mine, are from Grayslake. I love Libertyville.
I do too.
It is an awesome town. There is so much good food. There is so much good shopping. There is so many good events. You guys, like, if you don't leave your Grayslake bubble, like, please do and go to Libertyville and do both because
Right.
there is so much.
And if you're from Libertyville, leave your bubble and come to Grayslake.
Fact. All
You
right.
see
touche,
that? We
touche.
flip it all around.
Yeah.
Fair to everybody.
Yeah. So we got Discovering Grayslake podcast. We got Discovering Libertyville podcast. And we got Small Business, Big Dreams. We have a lot of crossover. Dude, I know you got to interview the guys over at Crisula's, man. I know I already did it, but man, the food there, the guys are awesome. Anyway, I'll introduce you to all kinds of people. But subscribe.
Amen.
And I think and for the record, like if you're like really like need the like hand holding, I think on some of them it says follow, right?
Right. Just say follow. Some just have the bell on there too.
Bell,
Or you can do
a
both.
follow, anything like that where it's just constantly going to like just set you up for success to finding the next episode because
And we don't have 1,000 things coming out, so you're going to get that alert once a week.
once a week. It's once a week and it sets you up. You don't have to search it. It's already there for you. Helps me, helps you, makes our lives easier.
Right.
So,
And really supports the guests.
and that's huge. You and me. We interview the guests. It's
That's
them. It's their story.
I always
We're
say
just
it's
we're
not,
just the
not about us.
we're the oh my god, why am I blanking on the word? You know, the one that makes the connection to people. You know, we're just
The pimp.
okay, that's one word.
They make the connections, don't they? I know what you're saying.
Not the liaison. There's like there's the word. There's a really good word I was thinking for that. Like not the mediator. And that sounds horrible too. Like,
Yeah,
for all those people who've been through divorces.
Whatever.
Whatever.
We deliver
make
the message.
yeah. So we are well past our usual hour. I mean, I think me and Dave, we could sit here and talk about everything forever if you guys let us. But again, check out his podcast. Check out his other podcast. Follow all three of our podcasts. And Dave, appreciate all your time today.
Hey, appreciate it and keep up the great work, man.
Thank you. Thank you. And then until next week, goodbye for now.
And that wraps up another episode of Small Business, Big Dreams. Thank you for joining us. Please support us and these incredible small businesses by sharing this podcast with friends, family, and on your social networks. Spreading the word not just helps us grow, but more importantly supports the dreams of our local entrepreneurs. Don't forget to subscribe to our podcast on your favorite platform. But if you have a small business we should hear about, reach out to us on social media or our website. We would love to hear from you. Until next week, I'm your host, Eric Bohl. Keep supporting small businesses, and goodbye for now.